Hello everybody, my name is Kara, and today I am here with the My Life in Books tag. This tag was created by Storybook, and I will link her original video down below. I was tagged by the fabulous Michaela from My Book Self, and I will also link her channel down below. Question number 1 is find a book for each of your initials. And I just picked 3 of my favorite books here. Crimson Bound by Rosamund Hodge, Artemis Fowl by Eoin Colfer, and Cotillion by Georgette Heyer, which, as you can see, I am currently in the middle of rereading. Question number 2 is count your age along your shelf. I'm just going to do that right here behind me. And I am 23 years old, and the 23rd book on my shelf just happens to be the very last one up there, and that is Drowned Ammit, the second book in the Dale Mark Quartet by Diana Wynne Jones. This is a series that I am really enjoying. I have one more book left to go, and I've pretty much loved everything I have read from Diana Wynne Jones so far. Question number 3 is pick a book that is set in your city or town. I have never actually read a book that takes place in my city, I don't think, but I have read some books that take place in California, which is the state where I live. The problem is I don't generally like books set in California. I just feel like their storylines, for whatever reason, tend to be ones that I don't enjoy as much. But then I remembered Becoming Naomi Leone by Pam Munoz Ryan. I love this book so much. This is about a girl named Naomi, and she lives with her grandmother and her brother in a trailer, and she's really happy, and then her estranged mother kind of comes back into her life, and she acts like she wants to become their mother again, essentially. And there's all this important and wonderful discussion about Naomi's background, because her father is Mexican and her mother is white, and there's all these important things about like family and the fact that you can be someone's mother without actually being their mother. And just there's so many wonderful things about this book. I think this book should be like assigned in schools, to be honest, because it's so diverse, so important. Her brother has a disability, and even though some characters treat him badly because of it, that is always challenged, and it's just such a wonderful book, and it's one of the ones I read when I was young, and I didn't really realize how like important it was. I just thought it was a good story, but highly recommend this one. I don't think you're ever too old to read this book. Question number 4 is pick a book that represents a destination you would love to travel to. And I went with City of Ships by Mary Hoffman. This is the 5th book in the Stravaganza series, which I talk about a lot, and that series is set in a kind of alternate Renaissance Italy. So apart from like the parallel universe thing, I'm just using this to represent Italy because my dad's family are all Italian and I've never been there, but he went with his mother. I just would love to visit Italy because it's not just because it's beautiful. I feel like the culture and the history and the art are just so magnificent, and I would love to see it in person. There's just something about Italy that just really like captures my imagination every time, and I really would love to go there someday. Number 5 is pick a book that is your favorite color. And my favorite color is green, so I went with Conrad's Fate by Diana Wynne Jones, another Diana Wynne Jones book. I haven't actually read this one yet, but it is in the Crestomanci series, which I have read the first 2 books in. And I really enjoyed them, but I'm kind of savoring the series. But this is such a beautiful cover, and the spine too is really cool. There are several variations of green that I love on this cover, although I guess my ideal green would kind of be in the middle here, like somewhere between lime green and like underside of a leaf green. Also, it matches my nails. Number 6 is which book do you have the fondest memories of? So if we're talking like just reading the book, that would probably be The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, which I never shut up about because it's one of the first books I read when I was younger that like really got me excited about reading. And this isn't the copy I reread, that one's on my other bookshelf, but I must have read that book like dozens and dozens of times over and over again, and I still love it just as much every time, if not more. So this one, it definitely has a lot of memories for me as being like a good story, but also the story that got me excited about reading, or that got me more excited about reading, I should say. And my other answer for this one is actually Nutcracker by E.T.A. Hoffman, pictures by Maurice Sendak, and translated by Ralph Manheim. I have mentioned this book for a similar question before, I think, because I just have so many good memories and feelings associated with this book, because my mom would read this book to me with my brother and sister. Like, we would all just kind of read it together around Christmas time, and Christmas is my favorite holiday, winter is my favorite season. Like, it was always about winter break. Like, summer break was not a stress-free break for me, so winter break was always the time I associated with just getting to relax and not feel bad about it. And it just reminds me of like cold weather and warm blankets and family, and not having anywhere you need to go in the morning. Question number 7 is, which book did you have the most difficulty reading? And for that one, I'm going to go with The Things They Carried by, I think it was Tim O'Brien. Not because it was a really high reading level or anything. We were assigned that book in, I think it was 11th grade, my 11th grade AP English class. And it's not a long book. It's like 200 something pages, I think. But it was a slog to get through because it's about the Vietnam War and this one character's like his experiences and how it ruined parts of his life and it ruined other people's lives and like some of the terrible things they did while they were at war. And I understand why it's an important book. Like, I think the messages were ones that needed to be portrayed, but that book was just so hard to read because of the heavy subject material in part, but also just the way it was told. Even though it was telling about these horrible, like this human story about people's lives and war and the terrible things it does, it's written in such a way that like you really can't connect to the main character or to any of the characters, and I can't tell how much of that was deliberate or not, but I would just find myself reading the same sentence over and over and over again. Like, we didn't have that many chapters assigned each night, I don't think, but it was such a commitment to read that book. Like, it would take me a couple hours to like read one night's worth of reading, which that never happens to me. It's one of those books where like I'm sure it was an important thing to read and talk about, but I really can't think of anything I got out of it that wasn't already clear from like the premise or from what we learned in history class. And finally, question number 8 is, what book in your TBR pile will be the biggest accomplishment to read? And that is Old Faithful, my copy of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This is the complete and unabridged version, and it is more than 1,400 pages. And as I've said before, I have started this a couple of times, and it's really well written. I like it, I like the writing, but it's very slow and dense, and this is just such a commitment to read. I might pick this up for the next round of Tome Topple because I feel like I need an extra motivation to kind of like actually finish this book. Okay everybody, that was the My Life in Books tag. Thank you again, Michaela, for tagging me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!